Now, we will be talking about the measures which we have to adopt in order to remove or eradicate poverty in the country. The first measure will be accelerating the economic growth of the country. Now, when can we think of economic growth? Economic growth comes only with money. And how is money generated? Money is generated when all of us are employed, when all of us have lucrative good jobs. And so, employment is very, very important. We must create such measures that most of us are employed. Thus, accelerating economic growth and of course through proper employment is the first factor which will help in the eradication of poverty. The second measures would be fiscal and legislative measures. Now, what is a fiscal measure? Fiscal measure would be when we have proper taxation system in the country, when we can subsidize or give subsidies to the people who need them. Taxation system would be best if those who have more are taxed more and those who have less are either not taxed or are little taxed. So, an effective proper taxation system is fiscal measure, and of course providing subsidies to the people who cannot afford to buy the minimum requirements is very, very essential. The next would be legislative measures. Now, what are those legislative measures? The legislative measures would be when we pass a law by which we enforce Minimum Wages Act, that is a laborer, a casual worker or anybody for that matter would get minimum wage for the day. That's called as Minimum Wages Act. That is, people should not get exploited. There should be a law, rule, regulation that all of us get a basic minimum salary, because only then we can eradicate poverty. Next is the price floor has to be fixed about the farm products so that the farmers, the peasants in the country get a good price for their output. Next would be combating the population growth. We had seen in the courses also that population is in fact a very deadly thing which is in fact responsible for the rise in poverty, which kills all other measures which we adopt. Thus, first of all, if we are able to combat, if we are able to control the population of the country, that would be the best measure that we can enforce in eradicating poverty in the country. Because with more mouth to feed, with more hands asking for employment, we would not be able to grow. With so much of division of the people on the incomes or the rise in the money that we have, it would be difficult to control the growth acceleration. Thus, we have to combat the population growth in order to remove poverty in the country. Other measures to combat poverty are development of agriculture. We have to use such techniques in agriculture, modern means of agricultural implements that would increase the output of the agricultural products, which would definitely eradicate poverty in the country. The next measure would be stability in the price control. That is, we should see to it that there is not much inflation in the country. If there is a control on the prices of the goods in the country, definitely it will go a long way in eradicating poverty in the country. Next would be eradicating unemployment. if we are able to generate employment in various sectors, whether it is primary, secondary or tertiary, definitely it is a big step towards eradicating unemployment and of course towards eradicating poverty in the country. Next is change in the technique of production. That is to say, the industrial sector of the country also needs a great change. We have to overhaul, we have to bring in the modern techniques to increase production, giving rise to GDP. And of course, this rise in GDP will eradicate poverty automatically. Next would be provision of minimum needs. That is, all the people of the country should be able to get the minimum requirements, food, clothing and shelter by various possible measures and methods so that poverty is eradicated. Next is focus on the backward regions. Some regions of the country are backward in terms to other regions. So, the government has to make policies and programs to uplift these backward regions so that there is an equal growth in the country. When there is an equal growth and opportunities in the country, it will definitely eradicate poverty. Next is opportunities for self-employment. Now, people should not look for just employment from the government side. It should be, they should be able to generate employment. Various institutions of the country are working hard towards such programs, that is, they are giving such skills to their students that they are able to get self-employed, which is a big factor. Next would be effective public distribution system. Unless we do not improve the public distribution system of the country, wherein the poor also get all the required necessities and the rich are also equally benefited, we cannot eradicate poverty. So, the effective distribution, that is public distribution system, is equally responsible for eradicating poverty.